Hi everyone. I'm going to run you through a bit of a guide to distance learning at Calvin Secondary, and this is particularly for students and for parents as you begin this process of distance learning along with us here at Calvin Secondary School. First thing is I just want to encourage everyone that this is a new process for all of us, for teachers, for students, for parents. So we're all learning together. Let's be patient with each other and not strive for perfection straight away. We'll learn as we go. For those of you who are doing distance learning from home, that is all students and probably some parents who will be at home with their children, it's really important to understand that Sector is going to be our main platform for delivering distance learning in the secondary school. Sector has a number of different parts. Our Sector Learn is the platform that students use, and all students in years 7 to 12 have had access to this and do have access via their laptops or via their own devices. Sector Engage is the program that parents will use to monitor and to see coursework, timetables, assignments and feedback. So first of all, I just want to show you how students access Sector, just in case they're having trouble with this, or so that parents can see how it works. So students already have Sector on their laptops, and they should be able to log on via their laptops or from their own device. If they're unable to access Sector though, there is a URL there, learn.cst.tas.edu.au, and for parents it's a very similar process. Most parents have signed up to Sector Engage and should be able to log on via their own device, which could be a laptop, a tablet, a phone. And if they haven't already signed up, as a parent, you need to have access to that. You need to contact admin@calvin.tas.edu.au. Once the account has been created, parents can access Sector Engage using the URL there, engage.cst.tas.edu.au, or for most people it will already be on their phone as an app that's been downloaded. Once you get onto that Sector page, initially it'll look like this, and you will simply put your username and your password in and be able to log onto the Sector page. You'll then come up with a page that looks like this, and I'm actually on the Sector Engage platform, which is the parent platform, but it is identical to the student platform. I want you to just notice a number of things down the left-hand side there, and this will be where you'll access a number of different features available to students and to parents as they access their work. So just under the welcome section there, you'll see that there's a section for assessments, courses, and as you scroll down, some other items that we'll look at in a moment. The first thing that I think you need to know as a student or as a parent is on that left hand side you'll need to scroll right down to the bottom to the timetable section. In that timetable section there you will be able to access the timetable of the student, and that top arrow on the page there would indicate where other students' names would be if you've got more than one person at Calvin Secondary or at Calvin School. So on this timetable you'll be able to see from the morning to the afternoon what subjects the student has on that day, and it's important to record that information somewhere, perhaps print out the timetable or write it down, because that will be the program that you will use on an average day while distance learning is going ahead. So in the morning it will start with homeroom. If you see there on Monday the 30th of March, then the student will have science for 2 lessons, recess, German and so on. And that's the program that we're requiring students to follow, at least initially in this distance learning program. Going back to that information on the left hand side there, the next area that's really important for you then, once you know your timetable, is the courses section. Under the courses tab there you will be able to access the students who are in Calvin Secondary, and I've whited it out there just to protect those students, but in this particular case this parent would have 2 students at Calvin Secondary. You would click onto one of those and then you will start to see the courses that that student undertakes. This doesn't represent their timetable for that particular day. You will need to look at their timetable, see what courses they have, and then go to the appropriate course. Now, what we're hoping is that we'll start each day as students and teachers by accessing the homeroom slot. This is under the courses page, and you'll see it with an arrow there. And we want students to access the homeroom page every day to find out any important announcements for that day, hear, read or watch a devotion being delivered by one of the teachers or a member of staff, and also access documents or portals of relevance to all students or to a particular year level. For example, there'll be links to portals such as the careers portal and the school counsellors portal. When you access that course down on the left-hand side, in this particular case, it's the homeroom course, you'll then be taken to a page that looks like this. And for all courses that students are doing on that particular day, as found on their timetable, it's really, really important that you click that button that says Today. That will show you what the student is doing on that particular day in that course. So I mentioned before that we're wanting to do homeroom every day. So if you click on that Today button, it will take you to what is happening for that particular day in that course. So here's an example from a different course now. This is a student who's doing outdoor education. And the Today button is at the top there, you can see. And for that particular day, the student is now doing this work. In this case, it's got a little bit of information about what they need to do, the questions they need to consider, some extra reading that's given there as links. And then you'll see down the bottom where the arrow is the task that they're working on there. So that's what the student would work on for that single or double slot of outdoor education on that particular day. If you want to have a look at the assessment pieces that students are doing at any one time, which will continue over the course of distance learning, you will go to the Assessments tab there in the left-hand side. And this will show you the upcoming assessments and also assessments by different subject areas. This Upcoming button is quite useful to see the assignments that are coming up for a particular student. They also show the pieces that have been submitted, but the feedback and the results are pending. So the teacher has not yet provided that yet to the student, or in some cases it shows that there's a piece of work that was due but has not yet been submitted. So really good to look through that and see if there are any areas that a student or you as a parent can follow up on with the student. In this particular case, you'll notice in the column second to the left that there is, for example, a science, a biology test. There was a Turnitin task, and then for the next section it's English, a few tasks there that are either upcoming or marks are pending, and then underneath that's geography. And if you continue to scroll down, you'll see the other upcoming assignments. Another way to look for assessments is, rather than that upcoming tab there or button, you'll just go to the actual subject. And in this particular case, I've clicked on outdoor education, and we'll be able to see that first task there, which is the human connection to nature task. In this view here, you'll see that the details button is highlighted in the centre of the screen near the top. And this shows the criteria that the student will be assessed for this particular task. In the top right hand part of the page, you'll see that the due date for this task is the 3rd of April. And then if you click the overview button there, you'll see exactly what it is that the student needs to do. In this task, they have to complete an attached task, which if you scroll down, you'd be able to see. There's also a checklist of items there that they need to do in order to complete that task. I mentioned before that the assessment section also shows results and feedback that have been released to students. So results pending is things that haven't been marked yet. Results and feedback released are pieces of work that have been assessed and the feedback released. And I'll give you an example here of a student who has completed a task in psychology. And here you will see that they've been given for criteria 7 there, which is using evidence the grade of B. And the rubric there shows what they did for the 2 things that were being assessed, summarising data, drawing conclusions, and then some feedback is given by the teacher underneath for that particular student on that task. And that's the type of feedback that you should be able to see for students once their work has been assessed. So I've given some examples of the type of things that you might find as a student or as a parent when you open up a course and look for the lesson for today using that today button. But of course, all of the formats of the lesson will be dependent on the teacher and on the subject, and there'll be a lot of variety there. There's a lot of different options that teachers will use in order to do their teaching in this next period of distance learning. So some courses might use a day-by-day description of tasks to complete. Some courses might have an overview of all tasks to be completed in the entire week. So it might be a week-long course of activities. This is probably more likely to be found in the upper levels of high school, perhaps task courses where students are working on larger projects. Some teachers might provide a link to Microsoft Teams or Google Classrooms meeting if that's the format that they're going to use for that particular class or that particular subject. They might provide the URL of a video to watch, or it may be embedded in that lesson. There might be a slideshow like a PowerPoint for students to work through with tasks along the way. There might be instructions just to simply continue working on the task they started the previous lesson or an assignment. There might be a Google Doc for students to collaborate together and work on. And there may be many, many more ways that lesson content is delivered. But as a parent and as a student, all you need to do is go to that sector page, it's under courses, that says today, and you will find what that content is. That's your first port of call for everything. We really would like to stay in touch with all the students and parents and teachers and the school at this time of distance learning. So we would ask that you would access Sector as a first port of call, as I've mentioned a number of times, to see what's been communicated to students. Check your email as well. That's an important place where you'll find information communicated by the subject teacher or the head of year or other staff members. You can contact the subject teacher directly if you have questions about the lesson content or assessments. This can be via their email or by phoning the school there on the number provided, 62294829. And contact the head of year to discuss pastoral issues or issues relating to a number of subjects, multiple subjects. So for example, if you're struggling to access the work, or if your son or daughter is struggling to stay motivated, they're the type of things that we would like to hear from you about. And if you have any general inquiries or issues related to attendance or other similar issues, phone the office and there'll be someone who will direct you to the right person. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a very seamless commencement of distance learning here at Calvin Secondary School.